Sleep. We use it to escape from the stresses and burdens of everyday life. Unfortunately though, many of us don't get enough of it. Everyone dreams, even people who believe they never actually do. Whether or not we remember our dreams, we all have them, for around 2 hours every night. The average person has 3 to 5 distinct dreams per night, lasting anywhere from a few seconds up to 30 minutes. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we'll be taking a look at 3 bizarre effects of extreme sleep deprivation. Randy Gardner Sleep Deprivation Experiment. What happens when you do not sleep for 11 days in a row? 17-year-old Randy Gardner was able to force himself to stay awake for 11 days and 25 minutes. The high school student carried out his record-breaking feat in January of 1964 with one of his classmates, Bruce McAllister. Together, both of them decided to force themselves to stay awake as part of a science project. They picked 11 days as their goal, as it would narrowly beat the current world record achieved by a DJ in Honolulu, who stayed awake for 260 hours, just under 11 days. The two decided that only one of them could put themselves through the experiment, while the other would be tasked with recording and documenting the journey. Randy Gardner lost the coin toss and became the unlucky test subject. However, this plan quickly fell apart, as Bruce was forced to stay awake with Randy to document their findings. Within a few days, both of the boys were sleep deprived, and the experiment started to take a toll on both of them. Word of the experiment had reached a local newspaper, and this caught the attention of William Dement, a sleep researcher from Stanford University. Dement was very concerned with the project and stated that it could have long-lasting negative side effects. During the 1960s, sleep experts had yet to determine if sleep deprivation could cause permanent neurological damage, saying that fatal side effects were a legitimate concern. Historical experiments which tested sleep deprivation on cats have resulted in the animals passing away after 15 days without sleep. However, the boys insisted that the experiments in question used harmful chemicals on the animals to keep them awake, which invalidated the results. After 3 days without sleep, they noticed that Randy's senses started to play up, revealing that he became more sensitive to smells. To the surprise of everyone involved, his basketball skills improved after the first few sleepless nights. He was very physically fit, claims Dement. It became very difficult to keep Randy awake during this time though, and it was remarked that if he was not physically active, simply closing his eyes would cause him to immediately fall asleep. During this time, national media attention began covering the story more in depth, and with the newfound interest and public support, Randy was taken to a military hospital where his brain waves were monitored. While this story captured the attention of millions of people across the world, the results seemed to remain elusive. Although the reported effects on Randy after 3 to 5 days without sleep have been revealed to the public, it seems that no information can be found beyond those days. All of the major stories and interviews regarding the experiment discuss the side effects after the first few days without sleep, but then suspiciously skip to the end and begin discussing how long Randy slept for when the experiment was over. This poses some serious questions. Everyone interested in the story is mostly concerned with the behavior recorded in the final days of his experiment. Why is it that interviewers skip over the most interesting portion of the experiment? A few years after Gardner's record break, the Guinness Book of Records stopped certifying attempts, warning of the danger to people's health. The results of this bizarre experiment may never be known. Peter Tripp Sleep Experiment. In 1959, Peter Tripp went 200 hours without sleep, but the consequences of the experiment had a massive effect on his life. Tripp was an up-and-coming radio DJ who operated out of New York. He decided to stay awake for 200 hours, revealing that he did this so that more people would listen to his radio broadcast. However, shortly after this, the narrative was changed, and he said that he was doing this for charity. Throughout the experiment, Tripp would continue his radio broadcast as usual and allow everyone to listen in as his mind slowly began to deteriorate. During the final 66 hours of the experiment, he was kept awake by various stimulating drugs which allowed him to continue his show. After 100 hours without sleep, Tripp could no longer answer simple maths problems or even recite the alphabet. He began suffering from vivid hallucinations, and he claims to have seen flames burst from a dresser when it was opened. The hallucination was so realistic that he accused the scientists who were working with him of setting the fire to scare him. He became increasingly paranoid and started to believe that the scientists were plotting against him. At one point, he accused the researchers of attempting to frame him for a crime. Unfortunately, it seems that the experiment had a long-lasting effect on him. Soon after the experiment, his wife divorced him and he lost his job. It is unclear if Tripp ever fully recovered from the experiment. He passed away on January 31st, 2000 from a stroke. Yangxiaozhing died after 11 days without sleep. 26-year-old Yangxiaozhing was able to go 11 days without sleep, but this act would cost him his life. The young man set out to survive 11 sleepless nights to watch every game in the 2012 European Championships. As a hardcore football fan, he was determined to stay awake to see each game live. His friends and family reported that he lived a relatively healthy life. Liu Shilin, a Chinese doctor who studied the case, declared that he was in good health before carrying out this experiment. The doctor theorized that his sleeplessness impaired his immune system so much that it sent his body into shock, ultimately ending his life. After the last game of the European Championship was completed, he finally gave his body the rest that it needed. However, it was too late for the young man, and he reportedly passed away in his sleep. Scientists have determined that after just 24 hours without sleep, detrimental changes begin to take effect. The first signs of damaging sleep deprivation include increased stress hormone production, raising blood pressure levels, and decreased cognitive ability. And after 24 to 48 hours without sleep, the body slows down glucose metabolism in the body. It is hypothesized that this is a defense mechanism employed by the body to preserve glucose. Glucose is necessary for brain function. Without it, your brain will simply shut down. Along with this life-threatening scenario, the immune system becomes significantly impaired and the body's internal temperature begins to slowly decline. But what do you make of these sleep experiments? Be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comment section below and help us by growing this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.